Hi, I'm Anna, and I am an alter in Collective Mind. I'm a lot of things. My roles are up at the top for now, but I'm going to be doing the personality test that Aura did, that a lot of us are hoping to do. It's like a series of us doing them, essentially. And the way that I've set it up, my roles are not going to be on the screen anymore once I have the personality test up so that you can see it better. And yeah, so if you want to refresh your mind on what my roles are, I guess they are up there for you right now, but they won't be in a minute, so just a FYI. But I am currently largely a caretaker and spiritual protector in Collective Mind, but I was our main childhood host, and I am a few other things still, so. But yeah, I am going to do the 16 personality test, the same one. I will try to remember to link it in the description this time as well, but it should come up pretty easily, even if you just search personality test, but especially if you search 16 personalities. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for this video. Alright, let's do this. I think I'm gonna get different results from Aura, but we'll find out. You regularly make new friends. I don't really anymore necessarily, but probably more so than most of the rest of our system. I say medium agree. I would more if I had my own body, I think. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. Probably medium agree again. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too, for sure. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. No, I do plan things, but I don't have to plan things to enjoy them, and I don't often do many backup plans necessarily. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. I'm going to say small agree. I am capable of that to an extent for the types of things I would be able to continue fronting for. And it was to an extent part of my, like, social responsibility. And still can be at times. I have a pretty good mask, so, and I think it largely refers to acting calm, not necessarily feeling calm. I can calm down other people around me, and I can look like I'm doing okay. But most types of a lot of pressure I wouldn't continue fronting for, and I don't really know how I would handle those things by myself if I were not part of a system, so that gets a little tricky. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. I'm gonna say small agree. If I'm there with people I know, or if I go there and then I find people there who I know, I would spend most of my time with them, and I wouldn't go out of my way necessarily to meet new people, but I wouldn't mind it if that was part of the process. And it's easier in some ways if I'm also with people I already know, because then it's not like either successfully introduce myself to new people or be alone at the event. I still have those like existing friendships to rely on otherwise. Okay. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another? Not really. I do a lot of multitasking, and I don't necessarily have trouble like coming back to something later after I've done something else, but I do often get excited about new ideas and I want to start those things even if I'm not done with other things. So I'm more likely to be frustrated if I can't start something new because I haven't finished an existing thing. I am definitely very sentimental. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. Slight agree. I do think they're often useful, and I think there are ways to do it that can be fun and cute and stuff like that. I've enjoyed bullet journaling sometimes, things like that. I wish I were better at like drawing types of art because I think that would make it a lot more fun for me. But I don't enjoy it anywhere near as much as some others in our system, especially like Natalie is one of the ones who loves it a lot. And Natalie, if she had her way, would probably want to have the kind of job where she spends a lot of time like organizing things for other people to do, because that's like one of her favorite things in the world is to organize a lot of things, but she doesn't necessarily want to then do whatever the things are that she organized. Just depends what it is. So yeah, even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. I would medium agree to that. It depends if it feels like it's something I should be good at. I am better about giving myself like some leeway to make mistakes and things if I know it's something I don't have much experience with, like if I'm trying out something new, or if it's something I don't really think of as a strong suit of mine. But if it's something I feel like I should be good at, I can be pretty hard on myself. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Medium agree, more than probably anyone else in our system. I still wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to do that. But in a lot of cases, I might prefer to do that than to be alone, but it depends on the setting a lot. Like, I wouldn't do that at an airport, necessarily. But there are a few things that could make me consider doing it even in a situation where I would otherwise be less likely to, like an airport. Like if I saw a pin or something that somebody had that made me already kind of think of them as a potential friend. Like if I saw an LGBTQ plus pin or something for a fandom we really like or something like that, something that is a good conversation starter. You're not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analyses of creative works. I like doing that sometimes. Not necessarily getting too deep into it, though. So I'm going to say small agree that I'm not too interested in it. It's usually not my favorite way to enjoy like a creative work. But it depends. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. I almost want there to be something in between these two. I want to, like, not quite all the way agree, but I guess then I should do this because it's not necessarily meant to be absolute. It's just, yeah, I think that's what I should do. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. Yeah. Medium agree, I think. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. Absolutely not. That is my main concern. You enjoy participating in group activities. Medium agree. Depends a lot on the group dynamic. And it's more work, like in terms of my like social job, essentially, for the system. It's more work the more people there are involved in it. Usually, not always, but in something as active as a group activity, it would be. But I do also enjoy it. Medium agree. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. I'm gonna all the way disagree. I think I would find that really frustrating and unsatisfying and almost like a betrayal of the like storyteller, story listener arrangement, you know? Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. Maybe a little bit. I'm going to say a little bit agree. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. Medium agree. Small agree. There's usually something that I'm currently the most excited about. I have a harder time planning out like in advance what I'll want to do because there's usually a lot of things I'm interested in. But in the moment, there's usually like one or maybe a couple things that I'm the most excited about that I want to do. Prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. Dramatically depends on the context, but I'm still going to say medium agree. But that's pretty all or nothing for me. I am either going to not worry that much about it or like worry completely about it. All right. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. Medium disagree because I wouldn't necessarily be looking for the leadership role going into it, but I kind of pretty quickly try to figure out what the general dynamic is, and if anybody else is trying to be the leader, I'm not gonna like fight them for it. But I am also usually very willing to step into that role in order to like keep other things under control and stuff, so it depends on the dynamic, but I wouldn't avoid it. You are definitely not an artistic type of person. And I'm medium disagree. A lot of the things that come to mind when I think about art, I don't consider myself to be good at them, but I wish I had like practiced them more to like give them more of a fair shot. I still might try to practice some of those things more. I know some others in our system want to try that too. But I do like a lot of those things. And like, I think I would draw and stuff like that a lot if I felt like I was any good at it, you know? But we often have a lot of trouble visualizing things, which can make visual art pretty difficult. And we don't always have super steady hands anymore either, which can make like more precise type things like that difficult. But we're also trying to remind ourselves that a lot of other things can be considered art and artistic, and we do a lot of creative things generally. So like if this said creative instead of artistic, I might put it all the way on disagree. Because it says specifically artistic, I'm going to put it on mostly disagree and consider it to be like somewhere in the middle of there, essentially. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings? I'm gonna medium disagree. I think there are actually a significant number of problems in the world that are rooted at least partly in people feeling like they have to push down and ignore their feelings and put up with things that their feelings are warning them about and telling them not to put up with. And that our society does a lot of forcing people to try to ignore their feelings and rationalize things when feelings have a really important purpose. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. Medium disagree. I do better taking more frequent breaks, and I certainly don't prefer to get everything done before relaxing. And especially now, like as an adult, that's not possible. Like you can try to make a specific list of things you want to get done before you relax, but you can't get completely on top of everything, basically ever. Like by the time you're done cleaning everything, something needs to be cleaned again, and there's other errands to do and paperwork, and it's just not how it works as an adult, you know? You enjoy watching people argue. Medium disagree. I can learn important things sometimes about people from watching them argue, and I would prefer it to being a part of the argument in a lot of cases, but I don't enjoy it. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Slight agree, not as much as most of the rest of our system. But I still don't usually go out of my way to draw attention to myself. And not being noticed can be really helpful in a lot of situations, so I like to keep that option open a lot of the time. Your mood can change very quickly, absolutely, 100%. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you? No. I can see some situations where I would a little bit, so I'm not going to all the way disagree, but I wouldn't usually. Like, it would have to be to the extent that I'm reading it as, like, apathy, like they don't care and they're making me do more work because of it type thing. Not necessarily about efficiency, but about, like, an equity issue of someone is doing so much less of the work than I am that it's, like, a really big fairness issue, and it's clearly, like, an attitude thing. Although it's never... You often can't 100% tell for sure, like, what's motivating someone to act that way, but if it seems like that, it would rub me the wrong way. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. Medium agree? I don't like to, I do often, though. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. I am going to interpret this more broadly as, like, religion and mythology and stuff like that as a whole, in which case I'll say medium agree. But I wasn't that focused on, like, the death component necessarily. I think that's fine to leave that there. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. Medium agree. I do sometimes want to be alone, but most people sometimes want to be alone, I think. But a lot of the time I wouldn't be. Usually if I'm feeling okay, I want to be around people, and a lot of the time, even if I'm not feeling okay, I would want to be around at least people I already know and trust. So I'm going to say medium agree. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. Yeah, maybe small agree. I think there are some theoretical things I would enjoy. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yours. Easy. Small agree because of the word easy. I work very hard at it, and I got better at it for a while, and now I'm out of practice, and I don't know as well how to do it with adults necessarily, at least not all adults. And some people can mask a lot better than others, so I wouldn't necessarily be able to empathize as much with them. But this isn't saying to like figure out what their experiences are if they're hiding them from me, so that might not apply, but you usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. No, I often make decisions fairly spontaneously. If it's a big enough decision, I think about it somewhat, but I don't like postpone it like that, I don't think. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. Medium disagree. Anything that I consider to be like an important choice, I would second guess it at least somewhat. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. Assuming it's something that like I picked that I would enjoy with at least one person I already know, medium agree. Not always, but a lot of the time. And with those stipulations of like not every lively social event for sure. And not always by myself, because if I'm already exhausted, that would feel like a lot of work to do a lot of socializing by myself. You enjoy going to art museums. I don't think I've been to an art museum. I think I would enjoy it a little bit. I don't think I'd want to be there a long time. I think I would get bored because I don't know enough about art. So I think it would be fun to look at like some of the things that are particularly interesting or pretty to me fairly briefly, maybe learn a little bit about some of it, and then be able to leave as soon as I'm bored, you know? You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. Small disagree. This is like the thing I was saying earlier of I spent years in childhood putting a lot of time and energy into that to get better at it as part of my like social job. But it didn't necessarily come supernaturally to me, more so than others in our system probably, but still not very naturally. It was a lot of work, and I am somewhat out of practice now. But if people aren't trying to hide their feelings, and I know them, like I know the person fairly decently, I can often see some of it. You like to have a to-do list for each day. Small disagree. It can be useful. I don't work that hard at keeping up to date on to-do lists necessarily, and I would usually be fine without one. You rarely feel insecure. Big disagree. You avoid making phone calls. Small agree. That has gotten worse with time, I think, probably because adult phone calls are a lot scarier a lot of the time. Because like most of the things that we have to make phone calls about now are going to be like already stressful things, so you often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. Small agree. For the purpose of trying to understand the social dynamics enough to like figure out what I need to do socially in the situation, but not necessarily a whole lot beyond that unless I'm really close with someone and I'm trying to understand where they're coming from about something. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. Small disagree. I did sometimes when we were younger. I don't as much anymore, and I didn't like way more often than all of my friends, even as a kid. Like, it would have been fairly equal or maybe a little less of me initiating I think. Because it was more so just like when the situations naturally came up as a kid, you know? Like school and birthday parties and stuff. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. Medium disagree. Depends what the plans were. Usually I would be okay. And there are a lot of things that could be interrupted that I wouldn't feel the need to go straight back to them, necessarily. You're still bothered by mistakes you made a long time ago, yes. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. Small disagree. I think about it sometimes. More than rarely, but not a lot. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Yep. You take great care not to make people look bad even when it is completely their fault. Yes. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. Yes, for sure. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Medium disagree. I wouldn't necessarily hate a job like that. It would depend how passionate I was about the work itself. But I would usually prefer to be around people more than that, and I think I would get lonely. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. Medium disagree. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. Actually, that I'm gonna say medium disagree. I like a lot of more quiet, intimate places. I just usually wouldn't want to be alone in them. There are a lot of times where I enjoy more one-on-one or small group type social settings. I don't always want it to be loud, for sure. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. Small agree. I used to be a lot better at that. I'm not as good at it anymore. You often feel overwhelmed. Medium agree. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Medium disagree. Probably not usually, but sometimes I will. You're very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. Medium disagree. I pay enough attention to know how to navigate those situations if they come up. But I wouldn't say I'm intrigued by it. You'd pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more. Small disagree. But it wildly depends on the context. Struggle with deadlines, yes. Feel confident that things will work out for you. Medium disagree. I can be fairly optimistic, but that can change very quickly. Medium disagree. Entertainer, ESFPT. Still turbulent, that figures. Spontaneous, energetic, and enthusiastic. Okay. It's actually closer than I thought for extroverted versus introverted. I wonder if it's because some of the stuff that looks extroverted about me is not always innate about me a lot of the time. Maybe not a lot of the time, but some of the time at least, it's the mask I'm doing, I'm performing socializing, you know? I thought I was going to be intuitive. I don't think it has this one right about me. I think I'm intuitive. Well, wait. Or is that a similar thing where I'm observing a bunch of stuff to appear intuitive? Like I'm learning a lot of patterns and social rules and things like that. It might be closer to that. Okay. And either way, it's almost 50-50, so feeling much more than thinking makes sense. Oh yeah, bunch of importance on empathy, social harmony, and cooperation. Makes perfect sense. More prospecting than judging. Improvising and adapting, okay? Flexible nonconformists. Novelty over stability. Okay, I can see that. 88% turbulent. I don't think that's as high as Aura's was, which is interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. What was it? Entertainer, ESFP. Passion, spontaneous. Okay. Easily bored for sure. Yeah, I'm not necessarily a good long-term planner, and I'm definitely conflict averse. Unfocused, potentially. Depends. Yeah, okay. I think it's a decent match to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's see. Wow, I've been recording for a while. Oops. Thank you for watching me take a personality test. I hope it was interesting and that these help you to get to know us even a little bit better. If you did like the video, please click the like button and make sure, as always, that you're subscribed so that you can see all of our future videos and so that we can keep working toward our subscriber goal. And if you have any questions or other thoughts or suggestions or things like that, you can put them down in the comments or come over to our Discord server, which, as always, is linked in the description, along with our Patreon and our Etsy shop and our wish list and Twitch channel and all of those things. And what else? We are doing 2 videos a week on YouTube currently, but live streaming on Twitch every day and then uploading those videos here on YouTube while we work toward reaching affiliate on Twitch. So if you're able to come give us a follow over there, that helps us a lot. We're getting closer and closer to 50 followers every day, so thank you so much to all of you who have already done that. And as always, thank you to our patrons who help us out so much. And we will put other videos on the screen if you want to watch those if you missed them. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!